First up tonight, the Republican movement in this country always thought the death of Queen Elizabeth II would finally trigger a successful referendum result. Now, in fact, the opposite is occurring. Just like Great Britain, Australia has rallied behind the royal family over the past 12 days, an outpouring of grief and mourning we've never seen in our 200-odd-year history. The crowds, the massive crowds, the TV audiences in this country have reinforced that notion that the silent majority, yes, the silent majority of Australians like and respect our links to the monarchy. And during uncertain times, whether it's war, whether it's pandemic, whether it's a fiscal crisis, a GFC, the Queen provided us with the stability, the warmth and the courage that kept us going. And surely in this tumultuous world we live in, that can't be a bad thing. Our political and legal systems, after all, are built on the Westminster system. Now, that's a pillar of the monarchy. Yet what we've seen in the Queen's death is a deep, entrenched malaise within the Australian political landscape, and a political party with growing influence in this country, we'll get to them shortly, has been exposed as opportunistic ghouls. Now, while the monarch and the Greens have shown that they are not really about saving the planet. Instead, they're about destroying the planet. They're the closest thing we've got to true anarchists, and their behaviour from leader Adam Bandt down has been disgraceful this past 12 days. Now, I put this out there for those poor souls, some uneducated, some didn't know what they were really voting for, who were seduced and beguiled by the Greens and their loony policies at the last election. Now, they're voters in electorates like Ryan, inner city Brisbane, Griffith, inner city Brisbane, and Brisbane itself, who have abandoned the major parties for Greens at the last election. Are you comfortable with the party of your choice trashing the Queen's legacy? Are you comfortable with the divisive rubbish we've seen from these people? Are you comfortable supporting MPs who would be sacked in private enterprise for their extreme beliefs? Now, since Her Majesty's death, Parliament has been suspended and we're about to get a public holiday at short notice. The world has been genuinely moved by the Queen's passing, except for this small, as I said, uneducated, noisy, angry section of society. Now, a few of the secularist technocrats who think they currently control the commanding heights of our society have struggled with the enforced respect expected during this mourning period. What we're witnessing is an impatient soundbite culture, and it's getting a reality check as it collides with the rhythm and tone of traditional mourning culture. Now, these secular technocrats who I refer to, and of course the left extremists, they're very obvious out there, they think they can build utopia and solve every problem with their social science, their activism and their publicly funded bodies. And they just hate what's going on, and they're lashing out because of what's going on, and they need to be perpetually outraged. But being outraged against the Queen doesn't cut it. Even with the young brainwashed 20-something supporters that the Greens have, they actually like the Queen because she was, let's face it, she was the first real feminist, the first woman to really break that glass ceiling. So spare us all, you guys, you ridiculous, myopic, ahistorical, nasty people. There's no place in Australia for this sort of thinking. The tears and the genuine sadness is because even though the Queen is not part of our immediate family, we've grown up with her. You know, she represents an important phase in the psychological adjustment to cultural and political change. And change it is. It's big change. It's death. It's not just the physical death of an individual, but the death of an era. The personal and community relationships that come with that, images on coins, the list goes on. There's this solidarity of experience, if you like. And in public grieving, we see we're not alone, and that even the high and mighty are finite and bleed, both physically and emotionally. Luckily, in this country, we've got two major political parties, the Labor Party and the Coalition, who are led by people who understand and respect the reality of life. We can be thankful. It's only a small group, minor parties, some in the media, activist groups, who don't have the wisdom or the patience to respect what's been happening. So I just hope tonight that those who voted Green at the last election, that they do their homework next time and they realise that these are people who divide as they try to conquer. They're not about uniting this country, but tearing it down. And the death of the Queen has exposed their opportunistic, divisive ways. I think the Greens have done themselves enormous damage over the past 2 weeks. They're nothing more, I think, than a passing fad. And voters are finally waking up to their true colours.